All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Larry James. My company is Speak with Larry, no spaces. And today I have a guest by the name of Jessie Wilde. And you're going to love her because she's a certified life coach in business management, specialized in helping female entrepreneurs and mothers start or maintain their goals by showing them methods to move forward, create boundaries and balance confidently to ensure happiness in their future. So welcome to the show, Jessie.
Thank you so much for having me, Larry.
All right, all right. So how long have you been doing your certified life coaching?
Well, I've been a life coach only for about a year now.
Okay.
I started out actually doing business marketing, and marketing management, and helping with consulting for that. I used to be in like corporate real estate and do a lot of that. And basically, I stopped taking care of myself, stopped looking at loved ones, and
Yeah.
my health went. I ended up losing a child, and I
I'm sorry.
decided that I decided it wasn't worth it for me anymore. And so I thought, what can I do? And I mainly work with small businesses and nonprofits.
Okay.
And then over the time of helping people with their businesses, I found that oftentimes it's usually the business owner that's holding themselves back, not the business.
Ah,
Yeah. So then I decided, well, what can I do to help them? So I started doing basically like confidence and empowerment coaching. And I typically, work with small businesses, nonprofits, female entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of working mothers because I think we have a lot of guilt with creating boundaries, things like saying no.
okay.
And feeling like we can't. We have to say yes to everything. One little nugget I like to tell when I'm helping somebody, I like to tell them when you're saying no, or when you're saying yes to something, you're still saying no to something else.
That's
So
true.
just remember that you're always still saying no, even if you're saying yes to this. If I say yes to this meeting, I'm saying no to extra book time with my kids. So I'm still saying no to something.
That's absolutely true. And also, uh, one of the things that I like to share with people, one of the guys I spoke with on my journey to becoming who I am today, is I would ask, I asked him, what's the quickest way to success? And he told me that the quickest way to success is to finish what you start. In
Yeah.
other words, you be more selective on what you decide to start, right?
Hmm.
Because your time is your most valuable factor involved with that, right?
Yeah, I was watching one of your videos that you were talking about before about accountability and following through. And Les Brown is one of my favorites. I
Right.
love whenever I'm feeling down, I listen to some Les Brown, and he always says commit to your commitments. And I will say that in my head, and I have to ask myself, is this something worth committing to? Because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to commit to it.
Uh-huh.
And so I always like have him some of his nuggets in the back of my head.
That's right. And I think too, what we eventually realize about ourselves is we're just a culmination of different people we study. We
Yeah.
take little bits and pieces and, the people we meet and, we just share with what we've been exposed to, I guess, in the world, right?
Yeah, I love reading. So I'm always like audiobooks, reading, watching videos, like just doing all sorts of stuff, just trying to make sure that I'm always learning. Cause like you're never done. There's also like a thing like not being content with
Right,
where you're
right.
at. Like you always keep going. There's always improvement to be made. And when somebody gets to the point where they're like, oh, I think I'm done. And I'm like, but are you?
Right, absolutely, absolutely. But what was it made you decide to go all out with this adventure though? Because you've done other things before, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I think it was, I saw so many people with amazing, great ideas. And I'm gonna quote, who is it? I can't, it's Reverend. And he says, one of the most valuable places in the world is the graveyard. And it's the graveyard. I was a
Ah,
Thomas Edison. One of them said that the most valuable place is in the graveyard because that's where good ideas die. Like there's
right.
so many people in the ground that have good ideas, good inventions, good intentions, and they just die in the ground. And I'm like, what can I do to bring that out in people? And I have rarely met somebody who's just doesn't have a good idea. And I know you're working on making like more CEOs, more entrepreneurs in the world. And
Absolutely.
there's a lot of people with that stuff in the back of their head, and they just don't like have the confidence to think that it's out there, or that that they can do it. And that's where I step in, and it's just, let's make your dreams a reality. Let's make action steps. Let's figure out how to get you there, and really just help them get it out there.
Do you believe there's also the structure that you allow them to take part in? Because a lot of times people have good ideas, but they don't know how to walk it through the process.
Yes. Yep.
So having a process for them to go through makes other ideas come to their mind, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and then it's like I want to someday hold the title of like the queen networker, or the networking queen. Because I love connecting people too, because that's the other thing. You connect ideas, you connect you connect people. Don't reinvent the wheel on everything.
Right.
Okay? Like, just
Right.
because you have an idea doesn't mean you need to start it from scratch. You can go to somebody else who's going. So maybe your idea involves partnering with somebody else, or using somebody else's method and then bringing it, like, expanding upon it. So there's, work smarter, not harder. They have that saying for a reason, and you just got to figure out where it fits in. And I think that's one thing that I really like too. I've always liked helping people, and I like different things. I like change. I like doing different things. And when I bring somebody in, it's a new thing every time, because I don't know what they're going to come in with me,
True.
I don't know what they're going to be struggling with, or what their business is about. And that's half the fun, is figuring out where they're at. And one of those things I like to ask them is, no holds barred, where would you be in 3 years if there was no options? Like, there was no obstacles for you. Where would you be 3 years? That's pretty feasible. We could think about where we are in 3 years.
Do they have an answer? Do they have an answer for that?
Not always, but
I
I'll
was gonna
wait.
say, that's kind of a difficult question.
I'll wait. I'll be quiet for a minute. And I know that's hard for some people who know me to believe, but I'll be quiet for a second, and I'll let them kind of think about it. And I'm like, no, I mean, 3 years isn't that bad. It's not 10 years from now. It's not 3 years. What are you going to have done? Is it a house project? Is it you're finally get that blog written? You're finally going to make those videos. You're finally going to email that person that you wanted to connect with that one time ago.
But 3 years is a
realistically,
long window, isn't it? In 3 years, a long window for that?
I think it's I think it's pretty long, but there's so many people who have excuses that are a lot longer than that.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, like, okay, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait for this? Are you going to wait for that uncle to say that he needs your help? Or are you going to wait for your kids to get out of school? Or, what are you going to wait for this time? Because and you'll get in the loop as a parent. Well, when the summer gets here, I'm going to have all this time. It's going to be fine. Well, now the kids are out of summer. That's Zig Ziglar. He has this whole spiel. Like, he says, the kids get out of school in summer, and then, oh, well, now they got all these activities, and I got them home, and I got to think about that. So maybe when they go back into school, then they get back into school. Well, now I got football, and I've got class, and I've got PTO, and I've got this. And it's like a never-ending cycle. And if you just wait for the time to be perfect, it's never going to come. Like, ready is a lie.
That's true. That's true. So do you get your clients to do things online? Is that how you introduce them getting started doing what they're doing it with things online?
I think all of us in the whole world pretty much have had this, like, it's a global pandemic, and we've all come across that. And I know one of your things is getting people, like, helping them with their online business. And there's a lot of people, I've been in a lot of leadership groups and things. I run a weekly show where it's a mom on a mission, and I bring on moms that are doing cool things. And one of the women is somebody I've helped watch her grow, and she was doing community kitchen classes. So like cooking classes for community and community centers. COVID hit, one of the first things to shut down, right? So she says, what can I do? Well, now she's doing cooking classes for kids and adults online through Zoom class. And now she's not just in her little community, she's all over the world.
Great.
I mean,
Great.
yeah, she's in the Netherlands, she's in Canada, she's in the US, she's all over, And so she's broadened her reach, and it's just made it that much more fun. And I'm always trying to ask people, like, where can they do it? Can you get residual income by doing something online? Putting stuff online, like you were saying in one of your videos, like doing the vlogs or the blogs or whatever. It's just marketing. So get yourself out there. Like you can still do your community. Like I can still do my community stuff. I work with them. I'm trying to work with a community initiative where they're trying to get a 24-hour crisis center for teens in our area. And I can still do that. And I can still do, I'm talking to you in Texas and I'm in Michigan right now.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
it doesn't have to halt what you're doing. You're just growing your reach. And, you know, the more reach, the more impact.
Do you have any scripts that you allow your students or your people to start with to kind of practice and get? Because one of the things that I do is when I bring a client in, the first thing I let them know is that speaking is an opportunity. That's a revenue source, right? So a lot of people have a fear of speaking. Like I had a fear of speaking when I began this journey 10 years ago. So I went to Toastmasters and different organizations and, you know, got better. I'll say I got better because, you know, it's always an experience. When I look at it as each room is an experience, you know, so, but you never know who's in the room, right? You never know who's in the audience. So the first thing I have my clients do is identify what astrology sign they are, right? Like say, if I'm a Capricorn, I'm a Capricorn. So you bookmark an astrology site on your computer. And when you get up in the morning, you read your astrology sign out loud 5 days a week. Just read it out loud and you'll get to hear yourself speak, right? And you'll get fluent over a period of time. and habitually, you know, you'll automatically get to do it. And you'll learn more about who you are through, you know, the horoscopes too.
Yeah.
And little fun things like that, people really can take to another level because they will share that with other people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I believe that those things like that are like groundbreakers for people who are really nervous about beginning this process, because they can follow that, you know, and then they'll start to do more. And then another thing I have is that they select like the 3 modes of access on the internet are videos, podcasts, and blogs. So you select 2 blogs that you're going to study, you know, and you're going to identify with those people. You're going to understand their mannerisms, what they talk about, this and that, right? And then select, say, a couple of people on YouTube that you want to study. And you're getting to know these people. You're getting to understand. But all this is in line with what you like. It's not what I like. It's in line with what your passion is. And by doing that, go ahead.
I'm a bit careful about looking into people too far because I'll get trapped in the rabbit hole, you know, they're doing this better. They're doing that better, doing this better. And I think authenticity goes a long way when you're speaking.
Oh, it's absolutely necessary.
It's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay. You know, I've got a little bit of a list. Sometimes I'm a little extra bubbly. Sometimes I'm a little, you know, and that's just who I am. And that's who I resonate with. And I have a real close friend, and she always says, you know, you're going to resonate with the people who are in that same zone as you are. You know, they're going to be on your vibe, and we'll go over like kind of make custom things for them, because again, I have all different types of people that'll come up to me about like different ways of life. They're on a different journey, and you know, for life coaching, it's less in the business, but I really do love the business coaching. I love marketing. I love PR. It's always been fun for me, and anyone who knows you can tell you that I have never struggled getting up in front of an audience since I was very young.
Really?
So that hasn't been too much of a struggle for me.
Wow, that's a blessing. That's a blessing.
I know. Well, and I used to, you know, I have a mom or a grandma that used to be on Broadway, so it just I must have got a little bit of her blood in me or something.
There you go. But you know, there's so many other streams besides the speaking that it's not really necessary that someone does that. But that is like, if someone offers you $5,000 to go and speak for an hour, you need to go make that $5,000. You know?
Yeah, and that's and like homework too. Homework, like you want to make sure, like if somebody's paying you $4,500 for a speaking gig, okay, you need to know about that company. You need to know about what they're asking you to do, and then you need to tie yourself into it too, and all your values. But you need to realize too, if somebody's coming to you and asking you to speak, they must like something that you're getting. You know, they must have come to you for some reason, you know? So there's a little bit of confidence is a big issue. One thing that I have people is usually like rates when somebody says, or their title, like they don't know what to call themselves. Like they don't, like, I don't know that I'm a CEO. I don't know that I'm this. And I read a book called Do It Speaking. I don't know if you read that book. It's really good.
What's the title of it?
Do It Speaking.
I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah. And so one of the exercises he has, and it's great. And I've told people this, and like I've literally had people be like, Jessie, this changed my whole life.
Mm.
So you take salt, you take pepper, you put them in front of you, and you say, this is salt, this is pepper. My package is $4,500. This is salt. My package is $4,500. This is pepper. This is pepper. My package is $45. This is salt. And you get in that mindset because this is pepper. There's no arguing it. This is salt. There's no arguing it. This is my package. It's $4,500. There's no
Oh, I
arguing it.
see. I see.
And you get in that mindset of, well, this is fact. And then you're more confident and do that like 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
And you're going to feel like a nut because you're talking about salt and pepper. But I'm telling you, it makes a big difference, you know, because then you're literally like, you get in that mindset of saying, this is what it is. And I've had people try it and they think it's nuts and then it works, you know, and they're like, yeah.
So what made you decide to write a book?
I'm working on a book. I haven't written it yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on a book. So isn't that what everybody says until they actually have one out?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm working on a book, and if you, I started my story, which is at my website, which is wildjessie.com, and it's basically about the struggles of setting boundaries, and you know, it really was. I was working 80 hours a week, but that was only in there. And then I was bringing work home with me. I was literally talking to my family through paperwork. I mean, it was a decent job. It had decent benefits, but I was literally throwing my life away. And then I ended up getting pregnant, and I just was like, work. They needed me. They couldn't, you know, I couldn't say no. I was missing doctor's appointments. I wasn't taking care of myself, and I wasn't taking my vitamins. And I ended up at 7 months losing the baby. And and yeah, and it was super. It was not easy. I mean, and then you know, I'd like to say that I told him to shove it. But I went back 2 days later, and I ended up, yep. I actually had somebody say, well, you didn't actually have the baby. So, because I actually had to like go through the whole process, like the whole birthing process and everything. They're like, well, you didn't actually bring your baby home. So does that mean you need the entire maternity time? And a normal person, like a normal, rational, confident person would be like, no, goodbye. And that wasn't me at the time. So I tried to go back, and I landed myself in the hospital. Yep. It was, I'm stubborn. I can be stubborn. And so I ended up landing myself back in the hospital. And then I ended up getting to this point where it was like, I don't need this. I can do more. And then it was just that realization that when I started to tell my story, I realized there were so many other moms and so many other women out there that have that same problem. And it was scary to see how many women I had messaging me saying, oh my gosh, your story resonates with me so much, or I have done it. I've lost a child, or I've had a moment in my life where I have to choose. What do I have to choose? My work or my children or my jobs? And you can still have that 9-to-5 job. I mean, it's not just for entrepreneurs, but you know, you can still have that 9-to-5 job and need to set boundaries with them. I mean, it's work. It's not your life, you know? Right. And I think that when I heard that, and when I had so many people responding back to me, it really made me think, I really got to get this out there more. And it's helped me heal. It's helped my family heal. I have 5 kids now.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
Thank you. Some days.
That's a big family.
Some days it's a big, beautiful family, and I love them every single day, and I make sure to carve time out for them. And you know, and every day my job is still there. There's still people there. And if anything, I get more respect when I set those boundaries. And it's about boundaries for home and boundaries for work too. So like, I'll be at work and I'll get, you know, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was giving my teenager a phone, because I get calls like every hour. And I'm like, honey, you know, if you want me to be like all in it when I get home, and you want me to focus on you, I need to focus on work. And so it goes both ways too. And it's just like letting women know that you can do that. Because I think a lot of us forget that we can say no. And it's not just women, it's men too. I know a lot of men who have worked themselves to the bone because they don't know how to say no. And, you know, I got a friend, he's 85 years old. He's done nothing but work his entire life. And now, you know, he's having to stop. He's not as fast. and he's got nothing because he literally worked his entire life.
Wow.
He
Wow.
has no family, no family, no kids, no wife, just work, 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 work. And now he's, nearing the end of it all. He can't work anymore. And he says, I've got nothing. I'm going to sit and die alone at the end of my bed.
Wow.
And I know. And it's so much. And it's so, it's crazy to think that that's what people think they need to do. And so showing them a different way of life, I think if it helps one person, it just really, it's worth it.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
think that's what.
And too, a lot of times what I see with people is that uh, talking back, making a decision to get coached by someone or get mentored by someone is that they don't want to really ask someone for that. Like they want to know how to do certain things, but they don't, and they know you do that, but they don't really
Yep.
want to ask you, can you help
Oh,
me do this?
well, and you have to invest in yourself. And I invest. I had a business coach. I've had a life coach. I actually
Hmm.
have both right now. I would say, I would confidently say I wouldn't be as successful if I didn't have them backing me up. If anything, for accountability, which is another thing I know you've spoken about too.
Right.
If you don't, because not everybody has a best friend that they can go to. Not everybody has a supportive family member or a supportive
True.
significant other or something that they can go to. So, invest in yourself and get a coach. And if anything, if you're paying for it, you're going to show up unless you've got the money to burn, which most of the
Right.
people in our situation, when you're looking for help, you don't have the money to just be burning away. So
That's
if you
right.
pay
That's right.
down, if you pay down that money, you're showing up because you better see those results.
I agree totally. But when you let's say when you first access a client comes to you
Yep.
and they want to be coached by you, what's the
Yeah.
first, let's say the first week's worth of things you give them to do?
Well, usually, and like I said, it varies because I do the life coaching and then I do the business consulting.
Mhm.
We usually do like a discovery call. So we do a first call too, because I'm not going to be able to help everybody. There might be somebody that I know that would be suited for you
Okay.
instead of me. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that I'd listen to them. I usually see where they're at. And then I ask them where they want to be. And that's where I can bring in the question, what do you want to have in 3 years? And
Okay.
then usually I'll ask them, like, I'll say, this is where you want to be in 3 years. And I'll ask them to go backwards, like start going backwards. What would it take to get there? And
Okay.
let's start looking at, you know what I mean? I want you to start writing down, what are the obstacles in your way to get you to there? Or
Mhm.
what are the things that you need to do to get you there? So if you want to be 50 pounds lighter, right? What's one of the obstacles in your way? If one of the obstacles in your way is that you're going and getting fast food every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's a step that we can realistically cut out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
and I'm all about realistic goals too. Realistic goals and real ways for people to get help. Because just sitting in the sunshine, which I'm a fan of, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
just sitting in the sunshine and hoping for it to come someday isn't going to get you anywhere. So, you got to be willing to work, and you got to be willing to do. And so I try to give them real steps too.
Mhm.
So, and like I said, I'm a mother of 5 kids that works full time, runs a business, and does runs her own business doing coaching consulting. I'm active in PTO. I'm active in that. I don't have time to mess around. And
Right.
I get that. So when I give you something, it's got to have value to you in your life, and you have to actually be able to implement and do it. Because if I just give you a bunch of advice you're not going to follow, it's not going to work the same for everybody because everybody's different.
Right.
So I try to give them actionable steps, working backwards,
Uh-huh.
and then we just start there. And and then there's like the different roadblocks that people come up with. Sometimes it's those limiting beliefs that they need to get over.
Right.
Sometimes it's
Right.
actually like actual physical things in their way. And then I think there's things too where people need to understand there's a difference between like coaching and mentoring and counseling.
Mhm.
There is a difference. And sometimes you need both of those. I have definitely been in a place where I've had a counselor, a coach, and a business coach,
Wow. Wow. Yeah,
sometimes you
sometimes
need
it's
that.
like that. It takes that. Like the first thing that with my system is a 90-day system. I believe that uh, what I teach my clients over a 90-day period, there's 3 phases, 30 days each, right? Now, if
Yep.
you can't commit to the 90 days, there's no way you can do 3 to 5 years. You know,
Yep.
so I charge one fee each month or one fee for all 3 months. And
Yep.
then I put them on a process. That process is going to be allowing them to become content creators like what we do. right?
Yep.
This content, like you were mentioning about the authenticity, that's what people
Yep.
want to identify with. They want to see them. They want to
Yep.
see you show up. But
They want to see
sometimes,
real people.
absolutely, and they want to see you the way you are, not the way, like if you study me, like I believe in emulating someone until you get it, you know, and then
Yep.
you, like I studied Les Brown for a long time, but
Oh, I
once I
love
got it,
Les Brown.
then I implemented me into that, right? So I
Yep.
remember a lot of the stories he told, and see, I believe, like I'm an author also. I've written like 11 books, but I wrote a 90-day workbook, right? This 90-day
Yep.
workbook has people like Les Brown in it, so that you can listen to some videos that they created and understand their story, because you're going to be
Yep.
telling your story to your audience. Just like you told me
That's
about
right.
the things that's happened in your life. See, they'll be telling their story as well. And the better you
Exactly.
can structure that for you, the easier it'll flow, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, 90 days is quick. And if
Yeah. Well,
you're
and that's
not
like
doing it, you'll see.
with the life coaching, I usually do a 6-week plan.
Okay.
Because I feel like as a mother too, I can put anything in the thing of 6 weeks. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
right.
that's me. You know, I can put anything 6 weeks. I can commit to 6 weeks. Like longer than that seems like a lot. Now, when I do businesses, I do a monthly plan, and I usually ask for 3 months minimum, because that's realistic. I mean, just results realistically. I mean, one of the biggest things is, like, one of my top 3 things I teach with businesses is, you know, having consistency and showing up for your business. Like I tell them, you need decent prices, you know, a decent product or service, and you just got to show up. You just got to be there. Like,
Right,
that's
right.
it. Like, and it's funny how many people get stopped up on that. And so I'm like, even if you just did those, if you weren't doing them before, if you do those 3 things within 3 months, you're going to be more successful than you were than when I
You'll see
started
a
with
change. That's right. That's right. And
That's
that's really
right.
what people want is to get out of that rut that they're in. You know what I mean? They kind of they get like, once you kind of like driving a car and you run into the mud. Once you get in that mud, you kind of spin. So you need to get out of that spin. And sometimes you can't do it yourself. You might have to call a tow truck. And then they come and get you, and that tow truck are people like you and I. We come and get them to that next level, and then they're on their way. But
That's
I think one of my first favorite subject is small business. I love talking about small business.
I love them.
But my second one is personal development. I'm really big on personal development, and that's another thing I kind of add in there as I'm sharing information, because one of the things that I know about us is that everything that you want is within you already. Everything that you seek is already within you. You are capable of that. You simply have to get to a place where you believe that in yourself and do the work. Because it's going to require you to do the work. And it's not an overnight get rich quick, you know, somebody else can do it for you type of thing. You know, you have to put it work. And then
I think
that's the way you'll be able to say, I'm an expert, because my system teaches you to become an expert on something. And people pay large amounts of money for expert advice, right?
That's right.
You consider yourself an expert. So when someone comes to you, you can do some pro bono sometimes, but that's not what experts do. You know?
And that's how, I mean, and I'm not going to say I didn't give a lot away when I first started out. You know, you got to get a name out there, and you start with your community. I usually do deals for nonprofits just because I have a heart for it. You know, I love it. And so I do, you know, if you got a nonprofit and you hit me up, I'm probably gonna be a bit kinder with you, you know, or give you a little bit of a break.
Right.
And I think that's with too, especially with what we're doing right now. I've seen more than like the hate, the anger, and everything like that. I've seen a lot of people coming through helping people. I've seen a lot of businesses coming through helping people. I've seen a lot of businesses develop literally on the idea of helping other people.
Me too.
Absolutely. And so it's just been fun to watch. And then, you know, and like I said, just having somebody with like an amazing idea and then being able to steer them, and then just knowing like that's part of my impact as well.
Right.
Is giving the world these people that just need a little more confidence and a little more knowledge or whatever to get it out there. Because some of it is just basic skills, you know, like I want to start a nonprofit. I got all the connections, but how the heck do I do it? Okay, well, here's what you do. Here's the paperwork that you fill out. Here's how you get a grant. Here's how you do that. Sometimes it really is just they don't know what to do, and that's all right, you know?
Because they really do have the enthusiasm and the energy. But with Google and YouTube, there's no way you shouldn't be able to identify who you need to follow to learn that process. Nowadays, there's no
Right.
excuses, you know, but it's easier when someone has that for you. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
just pay the fee.
And there's differences in, like, are you starting your business, or have you had this business for a long time and is going still? Did you take over a family's business? You know, I've had some of those where it's
Right,
somebody who
right.
takes over the family, it's a new generation, and they want to keep, you know, they want to keep the values and the things of the family business, but
Right.
they want to take it in another level where they take it online or they take it somewhere else.
Mhm.
And so helping them, you know, kind of keep that originality while making sure that it doesn't die in an old age. Like,
Right.
yeah. So there's,
Absolutely.
and that's, again, that's one of the funnest things about doing what we do, is you don't know who's
Mhm.
going to be calling you up asking for that call or knocking on your door asking for some help.
Mhm.
It's kind of exciting to be able to, you know, I tell people I put out a lot of fires, and I kind of like it.
That's right. That's right. And people appreciate that because they pass the word on, right? You know,
That's right.
how, you know, the word of mouth is very powerful, even online, you know. But
Oh yeah.
listen, we've come to the bewitching hour, and I really want to
All right.
thank you for sharing your afternoon, or I don't know, was it evening there? Your evening with
Yeah,
me?
it's, yeah, we're an hour behind you, or an hour ahead of you, because it's 7:30 where you are. It's 8:30 where I am, right?
Oh, okay, good, good. Okay. Well, listen, before you leave, I'd like for you to give a contact email address or website. I'm going to put
Yeah.
it in the show notes once we finish, but if you could verbally say it, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm Jessie. You can find me at wildjessie.com, and it's WILDE, because that's my last name. I told him, I said, honey, I'm marrying you for that. And then you can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Wild Jessie Consulting. On Facebook, Facebook and YouTube, actually, I just started streaming on YouTube Thursday nights at 7. I do a Mom on a Mission, and it's a show where I bring on moms that give real information, and you can email me at jessie@wildjessie.com.
Great, great. Okay. Well, listen, again, I sure appreciate your time. And I
Well,
always
thank
like to end
you.
the show by saying, my name is Larry James. My company is Speak with
Yeah.
Larry. And as always, share with someone else what I've shared with you. Thanks, Jessie.
Thank you, Larry. Have a beautiful evening, honey.
Bye-bye.